So in today's video, I just wanted to hang out, do my makeup. I had a look in mind that I was kind of fiending to do, feeling a little bit down in the dumps. And usually when I just bust out a super like sultry kind of look, it just gives me a little pep in my step. Can't be the only one. I doubt it. But anyway, in today's chit chat, get ready with me. I wanted to kind of discuss parasocial relationships with you guys. It's been on my mind for a hot minute now. So if you've ever spent any length of time trying to learn how to deepen or improve your relationships with people, you might find that a common theme that comes up a lot in terms of communication is understanding the difference between talking about issues and topics. And I think that a lot of drama or commentary videos, not all, but a lot, are really focusing a lot on the topics that are happening in our community, and we're not really discussing the main issue that is kind of fueling all of this craziness that tends to go on. Although, is it just me, or do things feel really calm lately? Feels a little chill. I don't feel like anything nuts is happening. It's kind of nice. If you guys are new here, my name is Whitney. My channel is all about beauty budgets, consumerism, unpacking messages that we can learn from the beauty community or the industry as a whole, and figuring out what, if anything, we can learn from them. If you're not new here, hey, what's up? How's your mama doing? Every time I go too long without doing that intro, somebody will be down in the comments asking me to say it again, and I don't know why I forget to say it all the time. But anyway, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, as well as links to all the products that I use in this video today. I will put links for my jewelry because I always get asked whenever I wear jewelry on camera what I am wearing. My Patreon's down there, the Facebook group is down there, all kinds of good stuff in the description box. Always check that out when I do a video. And other than that, I guess let's just get started. This is a chit chat get ready with me video, so I will have a naked face in 3, 2, 1. So I have been testing out soap brows for the past couple of videos, and I think I'm obsessed. This brow doesn't look as good as this one at all, but I will figure it out. Also, I'm doing another neutral eye look today. Spring and summer are around the corner. I'm very excited about the spring and summer makeup trends. There will be more color, more fresh, dewy stuff. But today, I just want to be that bitch. So I'm going to do probably the most. All products will be mentioned in the description box below in the order that I use them. So if I do not mention what I am putting on my face, that's where you can find out. So I thought a really good place to start in this video would be to begin by explaining exactly what a parasocial relationship is. And for ease of use, I will abbreviate parasocial relationship into the acronym PSR moving forward because it's going to get really annoying repeating that phrase over and over again. So the definition of a PSR is a one-sided relationship that media users form as a result of exposure to media personas. The term was coined all the way back in 1956 by Donald Horton and R. Richard Wall, W-O-H-L. They focused on the psychological attachment that was formed from viewing television personalities. So the fact that this type of a relationship was identified 64 years ago almost surprised me, but in truth it should not have whatsoever. If I've learned anything in the past year or so that I have spent studying and observing marketing tactics, it's that the main way companies go about getting money or getting a sale from us is that they're just really good at understanding, identifying, and capitalizing off of just almost instinctive, deeply ingrained human behavior. And the parasocial relationship and how it benefits business is just another tale as old as time. It's just reached a new and highly profitable level with the invention of social media and the influencers that followed. And while it's definitely true that it is possible to develop a kind of parasocial relationship with a fictitious character, the true nature of a parasocial relationship is defined by a feeling that you are engaging or speaking with or being spoken directly to by the persona, and will also refer to social media figures, actresses, musicians, whatever, from henceforth in this video as the persona. So for example, you can watch every episode of Game of Thrones and you will see Daenerys in the show. You're not seeing Emilia Clarke, you're seeing Daenerys. But it is a different experience when Emilia Clarke, not Daenerys, is interacting with you and like breaking the fourth wall in a hair color commercial by speaking directly into the camera for the sake of the advertisement. So for further context here, I recently watched a video, actually it was today when I was getting ready to film this, and I couldn't figure out like how to explain this point very well. I wrote this script that I'm talking from today 3 weeks ago, I think. And this video that I saw this afternoon, I was like, exactly, that's what it is. This girl, I can't remember her name, but the video will be linked down below, watched a Jaclyn Hill video, and the way that she kind of reacted to it or reviewed it or responded to it or whatever was through the eye of like a character study. She was treating the video as a study in manipulation. That's her words. But at the very end, she said something I thought was so profoundly rich and accurate for kind of what we see happening on social media a lot. She said that watching a YouTube video, you know, if I'm character Whitney, if I'm playing the role of Whitney, you are in fact not the audience, you are the other character I'm speaking to. And that kind of perfectly encapsulates the difference between watching Daenerys Targaryen on Game of Thrones, who is interacting with other characters on that show in like a closed circuit communication style, versus watching Emilia Clarke, who is interacting with you. You are the second character in that type of a relationship as opposed to the audience, because you're watching a movie or a TV show. They're not like turning and breaking the fourth wall. And that is why parasocial relationships are so easily formed on YouTube. I would honestly argue more so than any other type of media we've ever seen before, because right now I'm looking at you. I have broken the fourth wall. I'm not interacting with anybody else. For all you know, this is a one-on-one conversation between you and I. Now, there are definitely several building blocks, if you will, to a successful parasocial relationship. And I'm going to define a successful parasocial relationship as one where the persona is able to benefit in some tangible way, whether it's attention or money or both, whatever, from the viewer, and then the viewer also somehow makes them feel fulfilled in having contributed to the persona's success in that pursuit. Does that make sense? It stands to reason that obviously the first step in a PSR relationship would be that the audience must feel like they know the viewer. That's kind of like information clearly, but there are definitely successful tactics that the persona can employ to kind of help that sense of knowing permeate within the viewer. I think one of the biggest ways this is done is when the persona lovingly coins a nickname for their followers or their fans. And this isn't new either. You know, Lady Gaga did it with the Monsters, and Justin Bieber did it with the Beliebers. Tons of YouTubers have now adopted that same type of thing. One of the more basic and crucial needs from a scientific standpoint of a human being is social inclusion. So it really shouldn't be all that surprising that one of the ways that the persona can make the viewer feel seen or known is to name them. Humans like a name, we love a label. So speaking of building blocks of a parasocial relationship, let's talk about easy ways to manufacture the sense of knowing in a viewer to the persona. So the two more valuable forms of emotional currency that you can cultivate in a parasocial relationship come from the persona showing signs or evidence of vulnerability and authenticity. You definitely need both, but you might be able to get by with just one. Let's start with unpacking authenticity. Anybody who is successful in social media will tell you that one of the main ways to guarantee your success is to be yourself. Be yourself. Let's use my channel as an example. I've been uploading on YouTube on and off for a long ass time. But I didn't experience any real kind of like measurable, substantial growth on my channel until I did start being myself. In the past, and I've talked about this many times, so I truly apologize if this story and sentiment's getting old, I was really just kind of creating content that I saw doing well on YouTube by other people. So I was just mirroring what was getting views from others, thinking somehow that kind of success would just translate to me, which never works. Don't do that. But it was very formulaic. So it was like product reviews and hauls and favorites and things of that nature. I didn't hate making that stuff the entire time, but eventually I absolutely did. I got sick of watching it. I got sick of making it. It was boring as shit. Then one day, I just decided to do what I wanted to do and things took off. So I honestly believe that the growth and success that I've experienced over the past, and it hasn't even been a year, like the first video that I posted that kind of started this domino effect wasn't until like almost May. So it hasn't even been a year and I've seen a lot of this really great growth. I think that came a lot from a general shift in the community as a whole, but also from the fact that people who watch my channel, like the thing that they praise me for the most is how real or how honest or a breath of fresh air I am. And side note, I get called a breath of fresh air so much that like if I ever did a collab with a brand, it would have to be called that. Like I want to do something with that phrase so much because I have never been called one thing so many times. It's really, really sweet. But yeah, this new kind of like authenticity has deepened my PSR relationship with you guys. But here's the thing, even when I was making content I didn't love to make, I was never lying to you. I just only talked about stuff that I liked. I never spoke about things that I didn't. I bring this all up to say that authenticity is hands down the most celebrated quality in the beauty community when it is done in the form of being critical. In other words, it's really easy for people to assume you're being honest because you say you don't like something, but people will side-eye your honesty if you say you do like something. And this is a very easy persona to manufacture. Anyone can get on YouTube and read other people for filth, and it will mostly be celebrated as being real. And like drama channels are a really good example of this. Now, I'm not saying that the people who are in the drama community aren't authentic and they aren't real, but they were such a welcome change from the types of beauty related content we were seeing before because what they were doing came across instantly as more authentic and real. But here's the thing, even drama channels have their own agenda and their own objectives that they're trying to meet. I also fall into that. Like my objective is to grow my channel and my subscribers and my views in a way that allows me to be financially secure and have a career on social media. That is my goal, and everything I do is in service of that goal. The next building block or trait that you kind of have to embody to benefit the most from a parasocial relationship is vulnerability, which is also very easy to manufacture. We've seen this card played the most in the form of beauty guru apology videos. I can't get over how much better this brow looks in this one. I'm like offended. Typically, anytime a beauty guru lands into hot water over something they did, they will inevitably utilize the tears or I was in a dark place, bring up mental illness, basically appeal to an audience's empathy in such a way that to not forgive and forget would make you some kind of monster. Once again, I'm not trying to suggest that every single person who does this, has ever done this, or ever will do this is automatically not to be trusted or should be seen as manipulative or lying, but you just kind of got to pay attention to the data when it's presented to you. But here's like my rule of thumb in social media and in real life. I tend to be very wary of anyone who always has a sob story to tell. Like, it's one thing to go through hard times. Like, my mom died 2 months ago, and I am having a hard time with it. It's rough. It's the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. So I get that people have hard times. I don't mean to take that away from anyone. However, if every time you screw up or every time you need something from someone, the only way that you know to go about obtaining that is to spin a tale of woe and sorrow, like, I'm just not buying that shit. My girl Jaclyn Lester says all the time that number one thing sociopaths want from other people is pity. It's how they get what they want out of you. So just be aware of that. That's all I'm trying to say. What's interesting is that I feel like most are more willing to forgive and forget bad behavior from their favorite beauty guru than they would ever forgive or forget the same bad behavior from people they actually know. Speaking of the beauty community, let's talk about that phrase, community. A community is defined as a group of people living in the same place or sharing the same interest. And I'm willing to bet that for the most part, the actual human beings that are members of the beauty community have way more involvement with their online community than they even remotely have with their actual physical community. In some cases, and for the lack of a better phrase, the beauty community is quite literally where some people live now. I just repositioned my camera because I'm not sure if I've even been like correctly in frame this entire time. I hope that it hasn't been super bothersome. Okay, so now that we understand PSRs and how they work and the ways that any given beauty guru can create that relationship, we have to give credence to the ease at which many people, and by people I mean personas, are capitalizing off of them. And here's a good example of this. I'm willing to bet the majority of people in the community, and by that I mean the audience, the viewers, I'm willing to bet a lot of y'all could not pick Laura Mercier, Bobbi Brown, Francois Nars out of a lineup. I told my husband about 5 years ago that we were headed towards an eventuality where going into Sephora and Ulta and things like that would be a marked different experience simply based off the fact that the majority of the lines that we would see and the products that we would see would be tied to some sort of social media figure. I said that 5 years ago, and the future is now. There's entire lines that only exist and continue to thrive because of their direct relationship with influencers. Talking to you, Morphe. Here's the thing. On its face, there is nothing wrong with any of this. In a video I did recently, I mentioned how much easier it is to sell a product to the masses if you attach it to a person, figure, it could be real or fictitious, that they know or identify with. It's why nostalgia marketing is so popular now. We keep seeing so many reboots because it just incites a sense of knowing. It brings a personal relationship, a PSR, if you will, to any given thing. It is once again truly one of the oldest tricks in the book. I think the fact that we are not being more intentional with identifying the existence of parasocial relationships, and as a result, being more aware of the moment that those parasocial relationships become unhealthy or completely one-sided, which they actually kind of already are. I think that is what gets us into trouble in this community and breeds a lot of the negativity and the problems that we tend to face surrounding launches and sponsored content and cancel culture. So while yes, the parasocial relationship is completely built on the idea that you do not know the persona and the persona is the one that is benefiting from you, I think a healthy parasocial relationship is something that looks a little bit more like managed expectations and an approach to realism surrounding the entire concept. And this is where the topic versus issue thing I was talking about in the intro comes into play. So, for example, the topic is Jaclyn Hill does another shady launch. But the issue is that we feel let down by our friend. The topic is Whitney Hedrick doesn't like your favorite beauty guru's palette. The issue is Whitney Hedrick is speaking badly about my friend. And here's the thing, going back to what I said about healthy parasocial relationships, or as healthy as they can be. The conflation of persona and product, not to mention the resistance that some people might have to the idea that the same personalities, personality traits, whatever, that enabled any given social media persona to amass the following that they have and subsequent brand deals and product launches might also be the very same thing that deters other people from participating in that PSR, and as a result, from financially supporting any given person. Someone put it really well in a comment section on one of my recent videos. They said, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I completely agree. It's almost as if to some people, and when I keep talking about these some peoples, I'm talking about the people who I believe have unhealthy parasocial relationships. I don't mean this as everyone who supports the beauty community falls into this group, but you know this behavior when you see it. So it's almost like there are people out there tend to view product. So for the sake of argument, this eyeshadow palette, they view this eyeshadow palette almost as like a Horcrux for their favorite YouTuber. In Harry Potter, spoiler alert, Voldemort can only be defeated if Harry finds and destroys his 7 Horcruxes. The Horcruxes are literally like pieces of Voldemort's soul. If you destroy the Horcruxes, you destroy Voldemort. So as far as like influencer-owned brand and products, sometimes it literally feels like there are people out there who believe that if you speak ill of or destroy their favorite influencer's collaboration, you are seeking to speak ill of / destroy their favorite influencer. And in these kind of unhealthy parasocial relationships, their favorite influencer is their friend. Otherwise, if this is not the case, I can find no rational explanation whatsoever for the backlash that some people, myself included, receive for being vocal about the fact that they choose not to support certain brands or certain people. I mean, I've had people literally call me mentally ill because I don't support their favorite influencer. And I don't think mental illness is a joke. I don't think it's something you throw around. I've heard some people in my comment section, because I did a video, like my decluttering series I've been working on, and I mentioned a couple of times how, like, I thought it was really bizarre how many people were coming out and, like, you know, basically like a lynch mob trying to give me what for, because there was just, I didn't like a lot of products I decluttered. That was the exact reason I was decluttering them. And I just was talking about how I was having a really, really hard time understanding why that is. And somebody got in the comments and said that the reason this happens is because person A bought something and felt like they made a wise decision in doing so. And when I get on social media and say that I don't like this and here's why and it sucks, or whatever verbiage I choose to use, person A takes that as an insult to their intelligence, and it makes them feel insecure about their choices, which once again is indicative of an unhealthy parasocial relationship. You should not be letting total strangers on the internet make you feel that way. Like, that's not my intention to make you feel that way whatsoever, but no one died made me king of the zombies. Like, I'm not here to say objectively my opinion is 100% of the time correct and therefore yours is wrong and you should feel bad about that. This kind of brings us to more of that topic versus issue thing that I've been speaking about for the majority of the video. If we look at kind of the toxic or negative nature of the beauty community and the things that people tend not to like and why the drama just kind of keeps on happening, I don't know anymore how fair it is to continue to solely blame the influencers. It's got a lot more to do with the viewers. Now, hold on before you get mad. I'm not saying that nobody who is in an influential place in the community has any responsibility for the things that have happened. It's just that I am always of the mind, and I've said it many times, that we have to focus on like the things we can control and what we can do. We can't just point the finger all the time at the persona. We have to look at the people who are ultimately making these parasocial relationships what they are. So the reason I made this video and why I wanted to have this discussion in the first place is because with me, and I've said this before, I'm just the kind of person that like needs to understand things. In fact, in my life, the things that I have the hardest time with are the things I cannot understand. So like right now, I'm going through grieving my mother's death, and because my brain is not easily understanding why she had to die, if I could have done anything to stop it, why this happens to anyone, like all of those big questions that are way above my pay grade. That is part of what makes this so difficult for me, because I can't explain it away. I can't get my mind around it. And that's just where I am right now in this particular facet of the industry or the beauty community, because I feel like a long time last year, most of my content was put on, I don't want to say blaming influencers, but we've talked about them. We've talked about their role and stuff. And lately, my thing has been kind of really wanting to pinpoint where we fall in all this and what we're doing to contribute to it. And I just don't see a lot of people talking about parasocial relationships as a whole. In fact, the girls video that I talked about in the beginning of this video about Jaclyn Hill is one of the first times I've ever heard anyone use that phrase in a video. And it's such an important thing to keep in mind as social media and influencer marketing continues to be one of the most effective ways that companies are getting money to exchange hands nowadays. I'm gonna turn the camera off, fix my hair, do my lipstick, and I'll be back to wrap all this up with you. For my lips today, I actually used the same Milani All Natural lip liner I used in my last video. This is becoming like my new favorite lip liner, and the fact that it's drugstore isn't awful at all. For the lipstick, I'm using Nude Kate from Charlotte Tilbury, and for my lip gloss, I'm actually using Bellini from Buxom. I did something different today. So basically, like, my main takeaway, hopefully, for this video for you guys is that we all just need to lighten up a little bit. It's just makeup, and we're really just hanging out with a bunch of strangers on the internet. And if anything, I hope this video encourages more of us to get active in our actual communities and deepen our real relationships and stop putting all of our eggs in one basket here on the internet. I feel like once we have a more lighthearted attitude towards this and are truly starting to take everything with a grain of salt, I think that's when it's going to become a lot more fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it for you. As always, thank you to the patrons. March content is coming out soon. I will have a vote going on over there to help you guys decide what you want to see from me in the month of March, and the giveaway winner for the month of February will be announced like March 1st, I think. The giveaway entries close on the 29th. And the winner will be announced on March 1st. That's what I was trying to get out. But there will be a giveaway in the month of March as well. So all that being said, I hope you guys are having an absolutely amazing day. I love you so much. Thank you so much for stopping by. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms. And I'll catch you in the next one.